Hello, you're watching News9 Live. There was a time when diabetes was considered to be a rich man's disease. One also heard stuff like she eats too many sweets and that is why he or she has high sugar levels. All that, of course, is in the past. Brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen, for according to a new study conducted by the ICMR, an estimated 101 million people in India were detected with diabetes, 136 million were found to be pre-diabetic, and 315 million people suffer from hypertension. Can you imagine the kind of combination it makes for? One of the largest surveys of this kind conducted ever in 31 states and union territories. It was also found that 254 million people had generalized obesity, 351 million had abdominal obesity, 213 million had high cholesterol, and 185 million people had high LDL cholesterol or bad cholesterol. This is by no means to create panics amongst you at all, but maybe it's time for all of us to wake up and smell the coffee without sugar. What's more, diabetes prevalence is highest in the southern and northern regions of India, with urban areas having a high proclivity. And the good news is, central and northeastern regions had lower prevalence, noted the study. Let's listen in to what the Indian Council of Medical Research has to say on the issue.
We have to understand first the purpose of that study. The purpose of that study is to find out what is the prevalence and burden of diabetes, these diseases in India in the context of the changes we are seeing in our society. With increased prosperity, more access to food, more access to convenient modes of transport, changing lifestyle, we must see what is happening around and how do we prevent it. So what the study shows, as you very well know, is that now about diabetes and pre-diabetes is pretty prevalent in India. The reason again that why we did it is to understand how to prevent this and how to have changes in society which will have lesser burden of these non-communicable diseases, which eventually result in also high risk of cardiovascular disease, hypertension and others. And the answer to that is in wellness, in having a lifestyle that is encompasses healthy diet and more physical activity. It is not just to say that if you have diabetes, you jump into taking treatment and taking more treatment and more treatment. The important thing to note is that pre-diabetes is completely reversible. Diabetes, 60% of diabetes is reversible simply by healthy diet and physical activity.
Dr. Shikhar Sharma, well-known nutritionist and founder of One Health, is joining us. Of course, we'll be joined by others as well as we go along. Dr. Sharma, I want to first start by a joke. There was this meme which was sent to me. In that it was said, डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा तीखा मत खाओ, डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा मीठा मत खाओ, डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा खट्टा मत खाओ, बस डॉक्टर साहब ये बोलना भूल गए कि घास कौन सी खानी है. You see?
Well said, well said.
So I laughed my head off. The thing is, this was a country where we ate our greens, unlike, let's say, North America, where people are struggling. Eat your greens, look at your plate. It should be 3/4 green and then the meat and the potatoes. What's gone wrong with us, Dr. Sharma? Why is it that diabetes is on such an increase?
See, it's my personal view. There are a couple of factors which could have impacted diabetes and the strange rise of diabetes in a big way. The first thing is that the amount of chemicals which have come into our food, they are directly damaging our pancreas and causing severe inflammation throughout the body. Now, where are these chemicals coming from? The first is, if you see that the wheat and rice is grown in our country, and because there is no crop rotation, most of the wheat and rice is again and again grown on the same land. which is becoming nutrient depleted, and instead of changing or doing crop rotation as it was the right way, simply chemical fertilizers are added. So, but those are chemical, they are not natural for our bodies, and they attack our bodies when they go inside in very minute quantities. Second thing is, because in farming now use of pesticide is extremely high to get a higher yield so that nothing can be eaten by any other insect or anything, these chemicals or pesticides are extremely damaging, and they in micro amounts keep entering and accumulating in our fat tissues, leading to severe inflammation. Third thing is, which is important, is that if you see type 2 diabetes, we see also in children. And many of these kids may not necessarily be extremely obese. So I think somewhere we automatically think that obesity means diabetes. No, diabetes is also caused, and more so nowadays, because of the entry of these chemicals in various formats. In the villages, it's fertilizers and pesticides. And even in cities, we are eating those foods. Then, of course, is the added burden of artificial flavor, artificial color. The second problem is oils. Now, why would I say oils is a big problem? Because traditionally we were using kachi ghani oil, which is a cold pressed oil technique, which is,
That's right.
in simple terms, you just crush the seed, extract the oil. That's it. But now these big oil mills, what they do is they use chemicals to take out the last drop of oil from the seed.
Huh.
And then it has to be dried up. But how much stays in that oil? Not only that, once the oil is even coming out of these processing plants, to make it look pretty and beautiful and that rich golden color, a lot of chemicals are further added so that that golden color comes in, which is not natural for any oil, because
Right.
all oils are not that beautiful looking. So my personal understanding, basis certain researches I have read and connected the dots, is it is an attack of chemicals on our body, which is leading to such great increase in diabetes in cities, in villages, in children. Because otherwise, villages walk a lot, so they don't have the problem we have of being sitting and sedentary, and yet they're getting diabetes. So it's
Yeah.
chemical attack.
Yeah, but you know, Dr. Sharma, of course, the urban-rural divide is that urban, of course, you know, surges forward when it comes to the rural population. You know, I want to ask you something that, you know, this whole thing, you know, somehow, I don't know, Dr. Sharma, but I feel we are being manipulated by these industries also in a great fashion. You know, for everything there is a fad. Suddenly you said, okay, don't eat chapatis because gluten. Then suddenly they said, oh, sure, don't eat the yellow of the egg, and egg has lot of, you know, properties which can actually not suit you, stuff like that. The thing is that things keep changing. We have spoken about this time and time again. There was a time when we were all eating ghee, then we all switched to dalda, then we all switched to refined oil, then now you. Yeah, now we're all, I mean, in my home, it's cold pressed oil. I'm a South Indian. So, gingerly oil, which my grandmother used to use, I'm buying that. But then I'm buying a brand. Where do I go? Because in the villages, the one who took out oil would come home and say, here is your 3 liters for 2 months, and he would go away. I don't have those luxuries anymore. I'm just asking you one big question. In North America, you know, people fight. They fight these industries, you know, when they are encouraging a particular food fat. You have now listed beautifully what is really wrong. Same crop is, you know, is grown on the field, which perhaps is devoid of any nutrients. Oil is made to look very, very nice and shiny and beautiful, and you know, which is not its natural composition. The thing is, why are we not fighting? Why are we all accepting it? Why are we being guinea pigs like this, Dr. Sharma, is my question to you.
See, I think the first reason is that in a large country like India, unless an attack happens or unless an emergency happens, most of the things are just brushed under the carpet because we feel, oh, there are bigger issues to fight. There is a starvation, there is a war happening here, or there is some other thing happening here, or there is a water problem. So many of the fundamental issues which need to be addressed never get their due place because there is a fire every day happening everywhere. But the question is, if we keep working in a firefighting mode in our country, it'll never end. So somewhere we have to shift to a more planning mode, which is that firefighting can happen, but there has to be groups or organizations or certain uh, groups which, whether they're governmental, whether they are governmental and non-governmental, whether it's civil society, which come together in a planned fashion. Because the knee jerks are also not good. It cannot be okay from tomorrow everything has to be organic, because India is not having maybe those resources to turn organic on a, on a press of a button. So I think we need a 20-year plan where we shift into less chemical in our environment. So I think because environment is becoming big, and environment actually covers everything from human to the trees to the plants, which are actually both are important for us. So I think we need to look at our entire ecosystem. Here I want to also say something which all of us doctors are also guilty of. We do a very tubular vision. We do a very uh, narrow vision. So we say, oh, there is cholesterol in the heart, don't eat cholesterol, don't eat eggs. We don't see the body as a complete body. So as a doctor, if I'm a surgeon, if you start discussing any emotional problems, I'll brush you away and say, maybe you should talk to somebody else. But
Right.
as a human, we come as a complete package. So even as doctors, we need to go more holistic rather than just very tubular.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Sharma, because I've seen doctors, the minute you say I have this, acha, ye, get these 20,000 tests done and 40,000 investigations done, and these are the medicines. I say, but why are you writing so many investigations? No, no, just to rule out, a very dangerous disease. And you come out thinking, okay, I'm dying, Shikha, so why not I have a huge scoop of ice cream this evening? मरना तो मुझे वैसे ही है. I don't think that doctors in our country have any soft skills. I'm sticking my neck out because I can tell you lots of cases. We are great doctors, but soft skills, zero. Geetika Chopra also joins us, who's a lifestyle coach. Geetika Chopra, we're talking about diabetes, the increase of diabetes in urban sectors, and how there is also a lot of people who are pre-diabetic, which is of course a cause for alarm, but not such an alarm. I don't believe we should, all of us should create any panic amongst people. Just now, my colleague Neha Khanna, she walked out and she said, "You're doing it on diabetes. Wow, I'm so scared." I said, "Don't be scared. You're fit. Aapko kya hai yaar?" So see, I don't want to create any kind of a panic. But Geetika Chopra, you're a lifestyle coach. I want to ask you something, and I'm taking a leaf out of what Dr. Sharma just said, Shikha Sharma. Why is it that even lifestyle coaches deal with everyone like one fit for all? You and I are so different. Don't you think we need a kind of an approach which is individualistic, or the genetic makeup of a family, the eating habits of a family, and the socio-cultural milieu of a family?
I totally agree with you, and I think diabetes, the major cause of diabetes is because everybody has sedentary lifestyle and everybody wants to do quick things. It's like they want something which can be picked up. It can be it even if it's processed. It has a lot of sugar. It has a lot of salt. So what people need to realize is that if we are running, we should take care of ourselves. We need to do self love. Self love is forgotten. We need to do physical activity. 30 to 45 minutes of physical activity is really important. If we are forgetting that the stress hormone, the cortisol hormone becomes active, and once that hormone becomes active, the glucose it starts storing, the metabolism drops, and once the metabolism is dropping, we are trapped in a vicious cycle of diabetes, eating more sugar, and then again becoming lethargic, we're gaining more weight. So what has to be done? We need to eat good, we need to eat healthy, we
Dr.
just have to.
Geetika Chopra, I'm going to tell you the story of someone who is 42 years old, has 3 children. She gets up in the morning at 4:30, makes breakfast, packs lunch for her 3 kids, then sends them off, comes back, washes clothes, झाड़ू पोछा, cooks the lunch, बच्चे आते हैं, पढ़ाती हैं, folding the clothes, then getting ready for evening dinner. Where does she have the time to walk, or what all you're saying, exercise karo and all that? And she has diabetes. And it's not genetic. Her parents don't have it. This is my house help. She says that her parents never had madhumeh. So, again, I'm sorry. No, Geetika, just listen to me. I'm just sticking my neck out. This is what I mean by one fit for all. It doesn't work, Geetika. I think it doesn't work. I'll come back to you, Geetika, and thank you so much for your patience. I'm now going to invite Dr. Deepak Gupta, who's MD and DM. endocrinology consultant and diabetologist, Eternal Hospital, that is EHCC in Jaipur. Very warm welcome to you, Dr. Deepak Gupta. You know, when you talk to doctors about कि क्या बात है आजकल ये बीमारियां बड़ी हो रही हैं लोगों को, जैसे आप पहले डिटेक्ट नहीं होती थी, अब डिटेक्ट होती हैं, इसलिए आप सुनती हैं इसके बारे में. This is what I have heard eternally, whether it's diabetes, even gestational in pregnant women, whether it is a thyroid problem, whether it is anything, depression. जैसे पहले नहीं सुनते थे, अब सुनते हैं. जल्दी शादियाँ हुआ करती थी, लोग जल्दी मर जाते थे, longevity भी ज़्यादा अब हो गई है. What is the reason for this really very disturbing report about how so many people are diabetic in this country? 136 million pre-diabetic, 315 million have hypertension, and 101 million people with diabetes. What is the reason, Dr. Deepak Gupta?
Yeah, yes, good question. According to the IDF 2019, if we say there are almost 7 million, 70 million of the 7 crore population have diabetes. But the newer research so that the rise is almost 44%. If we can divide the diabetes, it's almost 4 times of the diabetes. Most commonly, we see the type 2 diabetes, almost 80% of the population have a diabetes, of the type 2, and type 1 diabetes almost 8 to 10%, and type 3 diabetes is almost 2 to 3%, and so one you said of the pregnancy-related diabetes, which is almost 5 to 7%. So when the things are different, if we can divide the diabetes, the diabetes, the cause are different. And type 1 diabetes, the reason for autoimmunity is due to the better hygiene, autoimmune disorders are more common. That is the reason why the type 1 diabetes are more numbers are increasing. Type 2 diabetes, which is most commonly seen, the reason is which already discussed by the previous speaker. It's due to the obesity, which is the most common because the studies show that abdominal obesity will increase the insulin resistance.
Dr. Gupta, your audio is creating a bit of a problem. I would love to listen to what you're saying. We'll fix that, Dr. Gupta, and I'll come back to you yet again. Dr. Shikha Sharma, what I was talking to Geetika about, that it's this one fit for all attitude that we have for everybody, that आप exercise नहीं करते होंगे, आप वगैरह वगैरह. I want to know one thing. In this country, there is no tradition at all for going for regular health checkups. We only go for health checkups when something is detected. Like if I'm getting chakkars again and again, then I will see, oh, maybe I have ataxia or maybe I have vertigo. The point is that therefore, don't you think that everyone should go for regular checkups? That is my first question. And the second is, Dr. Sharma, and I am saying this to you, a lot of my friends have come to you, they are your patients or clients, they have lost 50 kilos or 40 kilos, they are fat again?
Very well said. So the first question is, I completely agree with you that preventive health checkups and particularly BP checkups should become mandatory and everywhere. I mean, it can be done even in schools because teachers are there and parent-teacher associations are there. So something as simple as a BP instrument should be easily available, and preventive health checkup should become part and parcel of our lifestyle. In fact, health insurance companies, as they keep growing, they are going to push for more preventive checkups. Now it comes to rebound weight gain, which is very well said that when we are looking at improving our health condition, we need to look at sustainable habit changes. Now, when I say habit changes, the unfortunate bit is our entire environment has become obesogenic environment, which means wherever we go, we don't find health foods. So what happens, people who even want to stay healthy and are willing to go that extra mile to eat healthy, they don't find it outside. So I think that obesogenic environment is also adding fuel to this fire, which means that whether it is railway stations, flights, if you see the kind of food which is served in flights, full of sugar, all refined flour, preserved food. So I think whether it's flights, railway stations, cafeterias, corporates, there has to be a kind of a initiative at every place. Like I said, our environment has become obesogenic. So unless and until we look at the environment also and make changes in that environment, it will become an uphill battle for most people who want to be healthy.
You know, Shika, I'll tell you something. You're talking about airline food. One of the nattiest hospitals in Saket, you go downstairs and you want to order something. If you're diabetic, you can't eat anything. Nothing. I fought with them. They said masala dosa. I mean, it was for my mum. Masala dosa खा लो, उसमें आलू होता है. I said, हाँ तो क्या हुआ? I said, क्या कर रहे हैं आप? But you know, I was very surprised. How can you do that? All the drinks were sweetened. There was nothing. Ultimately, they said कि lassi, which I will give you, and मैं उसमें मतलब that also had sugar. But my mother, you know, diabetics also need constant food. I mean, she was feeling. So you are talking about this. You are right. Our atmosphere is this, that we have to be cognizant of the fact that if you have to eat healthy, then you don't have to keep all this stuff. It's good for children, but not for everybody. Geetika Chopra, I want to bring you in, and when I was saying that, you know, one fit for all, can you just tell me that how much does socio-cultural aspects, see, I'm a South Indian, okay, I've grown up eating rice, but I'm a Delhi wali, तो मैं दिल्ली में बड़ी हुई हूँ, मुझे रोटी खानी ही खानी है, अब मैं तमिलियन नहीं रही, ठीक है. But the point is that whatever works for me, like someone told me, eat just the way your grandmother used to eat. Impossible, because my grandmother never ate the things which I eat. But the point is, don't you think socio-cultural things play an important role in someone eating healthy?
Culture is affecting, but we need to adapt that, and we need to understand. Like you said, that I think a woman plays a very important role in a family, and if you eat healthy, the whole family is eating healthy. Like we were talking about your maid. Why can't a maid afford a ragi ki roti? Why can't she afford nachni?
You gotta be kidding me. I mean, you think she will make ragi ki roti in the morning? Uski jo, matlab, these are.
She can eat brown bread. Can't we eat
brown bread? Geetika, I'm so sorry, but you have to know the economic condition of most people in this country. I mean, by saying this, you're actually, you know, I'm sorry to say, I'm sticking my neck out. It's very easy for someone to tell me, go get sourdough bread. You know how much does that cost?
But ragi atta is really cheap.
बनाने में तो देर, दीपिका जी, उसको बनाने में बड़ा वक्त लगता है ना. अब ये जो है मैं जल्दी से बेल लूँगी. See, the God lies in detailing. That's what I'm saying, that this country need to understand that we all eat different. Punjab eats differently, Goa eats differently, Kerala eats differently, and you know, Madhya Pradesh eats differently, Maharashtra eats differently. So I think there is
बहुत
no
सिंपल रूल फॉलो करना है कि हमें हेल्दी ईटिंग करनी है. इंस्टेड ऑफ ईटिंग फ्राइड, we can eat something which is low in calorie, like healthy snacks can be eaten. हमें ज़्यादा fruits, we can add more
all right.
vegetables.
Let me get Dr. Deepak Gupta in. I'm sorry, Geetika, उनका ना ऑडियो ख़राब था, अब ठीक हो गया है, तो मैं आपके पास वापस आऊँगी. Dr. Deepak Gupta, half of what you said I did not hear. I think the audiences did not hear. So can you please repeat, why do you think cases of diabetes are increasing in this fashion? It's almost sounding like an epidemic, doctor.
Yeah, we can divide the diabetes in diabetes. Adult diabetes, my voice is clear now?
हाँ, it's clear, sir. Thank you.
तो एडल्ट डायबिटीज के बारे में हम बात करें तो इस ड्यू टू द ऑटोइम्यून डिसऑर्डर्स, इंडिया में अभी ऑटोइम्यून डिसऑर्डर्स का जो सबसे बड़ा जो देखने को मिल रहा है वो उसमें डायबिटीज भी एक रीजंस है. ड्यू टू द हाई वी कैन से due to the good sanitations, these all things, the autoimmune disorders are significantly high. And second, the most common diabetes we have seen is the type 2 diabetes. The most reasons are the obesity due to the unhealthy lifestyle, due to the sedentary lifestyle. We already discussed our earlier speaker also, and that is the most common reasons in the Indian populations are diabetes, prediabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, heart disease. All are very high number because we have an abdominal obesity. belly fat is significantly high
Dr.
in
Gupta, I'm sorry to interject you, but tell me something. When you say that diabetes is also now like an autoimmune disease, the thing is, all you doctors say autoimmune disease, why does it have? We do not know. We are going to give you, steroids to control it or immunosuppressants. So, this is a kind of a mystery. How long will we live under this?
We are discussing about the type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune disorder. We can divide the diabetes in the type 4 diabetes, which is one is the type 1 diabetes, which is mostly seen in the children. That is the which is the autoimmune disorders. That time the patient required the insulin, only insulin therapy. तो टाइप 1 डायबिटीज जो ऑटोइम्यून डिसऑर्डर होता है, टाइप 2 डायबिटीज होती है, ये मल्टीफैक्टोरियल होती है, इसमें ओबेसिटी, आपकी एनर्जी लाइफ स्टाइल,
तो
फैमिली
हमारा जो हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम है डॉक्टर साहब, व्हाई इज इट दैट वी आर नॉट ट्राइंग? कुछ भी नहीं हम लोग करते हैं। जब हमारे यहाँ कोविड हुआ, आप सब खड़े हो गए मदद करने के लिए इस देश में। ये क्यों नहीं होता है? क्योंकि इसका ये कारण है कि डायबिटीज से किसी की इतनी जल्दी मौत नहीं होती। आई नो दैट यू ऑलवेज वांट पेशेंट्स, देखिए आपको डायबिटीज़ है, हार्ट अटैक साइलेंट हो सकता है, तो बड़ा केयरफुल रहिए, अपना कंट्रोल रखिए। बट द पॉइंट इज, व्हाई इज देयर नो, कोई ऐसी चेष्टा नहीं की जाती कि इसको कम कर दिया जाए? डॉक्टर साहब, ऐसा क्यों है?
हाँ बिल्कुल, इसके लिए अवेयरनेस कैंप लगाए जाते हैं फ्रिक्वेंटली, बट इट्स ड्यू टू द सम टुडे कल्चर, socio-economic conditions, with the busy activity, stress, all things will definitely have a significant role. And the numbers is increased significantly after the COVID due to the during COVID, basically due to the low activity, due to sedentary, significant sedentary lifestyle, the junk food which have eaten by everything is have a significant role. Also, the steroid which is given in the during COVID time, because we do not know the proper treatment of the COVID. So the significant number of the steroid is given. That is also reason why the number of the active diabetes
right. You know, Dr. Shikha Sharma, I'm going to bring you in here. Dr. Shikha Sharma, I think, I don't know, I'm not a doc, so I'm asking you. One of the main reasons is the stress levels all of us go through. And I'll tell you, there is stress eating. It happens with me. When I'm really stressed out, sugar really makes me feel happy. I know full well that donut is going to make me regret. But then at that time, to keep my mental balance and to feel happy, that donut seems more important than thinking about, kya hai yaar, koi baat nahi. Do you think stress levels and the kind of pressures that we work under, also societal pressures, which I don't have, but I'm saying generally pressures jo hain, it really adds, this may be adding to the numbers of pre-diabetics in this country, Shikha?
Absolutely. See, if you see post-pandemic also, because of the stress in the system, people have lost jobs, companies have shut down, there is financial issues happening. So the stress is a direct, stress directly impacts the body, and it leads to not only diabetes, but cholesterol issues, allergies, asthma, digestive issues like Crohn's disease. So stress is definitely one of the common factors or common denominators in most of these lifestyle disorders. Now, the question is what to do about it. I feel, and I think the smoking cessation program globally has done such fabulous work that we can take some learnings from the smoking cessation program, which actually nobody could imagine that smoking would come down so much. So the first thing is, I think in all institutions, whether it is schools or whether it's colleges, they need to commit to certain numbers or certain changes within their institution. Because if you work through institutions, there is a key influencer sitting at the top, and it's easier to drive changes throughout the institution, whether it's schools, whether it's colleges, whether it's government institutes or corporates. Number one. Number two, I think FSSAI has been becoming active. They need to put color coding on all foods, so that even if industry doesn't want to change easily,
yeah, it's a great idea.
They will change when people know that it's red, green, or blue, or red, green, or yellow. So I think that's number two. Number three, I think it's also very important that we need to bring some policy level regulation in terms of natural organic eating and reducing whether it's fertilizers or pesticides, and at least removing subsidies, because if they're going to be so cheap, farmers will use them. So instead of incentivizing chemicals, we should incentivize organic, maybe give subsidies there where it's more required. So I think if we make a very concrete 10-year plan, it can be done like smoking cessation was achieved. This can be also achieved.
What a brilliant idea, really. Now, this sounds logical, to go step by step and try and kind of control this demon which is called diabetes. Geetika Chopra ji, I want to bring you in here. Geetika ji, I have seen that most, at least the women and now even men, I mean, there is no gender kind of differentiation here. Everyone wants to look fit. Not feel fit. So there is a horde लगी रहती है कि I have to look like that person, six pack बना लो SRK की तरह, or so and so wants to look like Bebo and size 0 and now size 2, whatever that is, or you need to, then there was one curvy thing which was also a fad. Don't you think that these, आपके पास भी लोग आते होंगे, don't you think there is a lot of pressure, peer pressure in looking a particular way rather than feeling healthy? And it's fine to be fat or to be, I'm not fat. It's fine to be curvy if that is how you are built. I mean, what's wrong with it? Look at me.
Yes, I totally agree with you. People want to look thin instead of being fit. They don't understand that physical and mental fitness, both of them should go side by side. And I totally agree with you that anxiety and depression cases are increasing day by day because it is again the societal pressure is a lot of societal pressure is there. There's a lot of competition. There is actually running कि हमें उसके जैसा लगना है, हमें उसके जैसा लगना है. They don't understand कि हमें fit रहना है, हमें healthy रहना है, because fit body is a healthy mind. And I think fitter you are, healthy you are, the productivity will be better. You will be able to work better. You will be more alert. Your levels will be better. You will be more active, and you will be able to avoid the lifestyle diseases like diabetes.
Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not able to make contact with Dr. Gupta, who is actually the diabetologist here, but I will try our level best. So I'm going to go to Shikha, who's a doctor, and try and figure out. Shikha, there is one more thing, that is paranoia. If you want to get well, you need to have a positive attitude. I'm not saying it because I read it in a book. I've actually seen someone suffering from cancer, but what a cheerful woman she was. She's gone, but she was very cheerful. Every time I would say, अरे कीमो करके हंसने की क्या बात है? She said, हंसने की बात क्या नहीं है? I want to know from you. So, I think, and she was cheerful. She would put makeup and she would say, I want to party. It's a positive attitude. Pray a lot. I'm asking you something. This paranoia, if I get diabetes once, I can never get rid of it. That's also a fallacy, na, Shikha Sharma?
See, actually, if you are borderline diabetic, you can reverse diabetes, like you can reverse heart disease, you can reverse diabetes. It only becomes a problematic once it's become chronic and the tissues have been damaged beyond a certain level. So yes, there is no need for paranoia. And I think fundamentally, we should not go from complete lack of awareness to paranoia. There has to be an in-between way where we productively, consciously, with awareness, start walking the path of health and wellness. So I think what is important today is we don't need to go into that stage where we need to treat a disease. We need to start early. And this starts from habit development at a young level, and at every level. I mean, I would say that whether it is institutions, whether it's schools, whether it is organizations, like today, organizations also can participate by inculcating healthy workplace. Now, a healthy workplace could be that, okay, after every 1 hour or 2 hours, especially in workplaces where it's extremely sedentary, can you give a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break to stretch? Can there be a little small alarm saying time to stretch? It has been done in Japan. In Japan, I think they are really miles ahead of many other countries in terms of health and wellness. And it can be done in our country also, because some things don't cost too much money. They just need commitment at the top. If the commitment at the top comes, these small changes actually can go a very long way. In Japan, they call the principle of Kaizen, which is make small incremental changes, and with 1 year, you can make a radical change. I think that's what we need to subscribe to. Small incremental changes, small positive changes.
Absolutely, and I think that, like I promised, we will not create panic. Shikha and Geetika, you were able not to create panic, but to look at diabetes from the prism of how to really ace it. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. And this evening, when you're having cold coffee or anything which is a sweet beverage, like Shikha Sharma said, make incremental changes. 2 चम्मच चीनी डालते थे, आज 1 डाल लीजिए, कल आधी, उसके बाद शायद चीनी गायब भी हो जाए, and then slowly and steadily we'll see that there is an overall change. For all the other news and analysis, this is your destination. News 9 Live. Keep watching.